Hello, everybody. Let me cut this off. And hello, and glad to see you're here. Let me go ahead and spotlight myself here so you can see me. I'm not sure whether I want that or not, but you see me. This is Tech for Senior for August 5th, 2024. This is episode 226. We've been around a while, and we're glad you're here. I'm Hewie Poplock, and I'll be your host today. Ron, who is normally our host, and I'm the co-host, takes the first Monday of every month and lets me sit in for him. He's here, but it just gives him a break. He doesn't have to do as much preparing for a week, and he gets some time off and to relax and make some dinner, and he likes to cook and so on. So anyway, we're glad. I'm glad you're here, and let's see what's going on here. This is a 1-hour show about technology. We have a Q&A at the end. So some of you, when the music finishes, you disappear. You don't need to, because we do run about a 20-minute Q&A afterwards on either any of the topics we talk about or maybe something else that's troubling you that you want some answers to. Today, we're going to have a security roundup from Bob, which is our normal every week, and he does such a great job at it. And then I'm going to talk about God mode from my WinSig. I'm starting a new series on some things that we talked about at WinSig, so it's going to be a different approach to how we do it. It's going to be an approach directly from WinSig. And then Chris will be doing fun with photos, and she's going to talk about some of the new features and new things that are in Google Photos. And then Ron and Bob are doing fighting for your social insurance number, SIN, and it's growing, and it should be very interesting and a lot of good information for you. And then our music outro with Ray, and then the Q&A. So we're glad you're here. Let's just quickly say hello to everybody. We got a long show today. We're going to run over no matter what. But Ron, welcome. Glad you're here. Anything interesting you'd like to say?
Just a reminder that we have our premiere video coming up today as well at 1:30. I'm going to be talking on, and we're coming into the fall now when it's going to be a really great time to buy a PC, how to purchase a new PC, part 1. Chris is going to talk about using Prisma for photos, and then Huey's going to talk about what is upload and download speed. So those are the 3 selections today on our Tech for Senior educational series.
Oh, they should be pretty good. Bob G., the voice of Tech for Seniors. Bob, what's going on with your world?
Still busy doing videos.
You sure are.
Never seem to run out of topics. And the one that's in the hopper right now is free, truly free. And today I'm going to be tackling Avast, my favorite antivirus program.
Okay, Ray, what's new in the music world and in your world?
Well, I managed to be in Phoenix again over the weekend on Saturday, and this time it only hit 116. So it was a little bit cooler than the last time I was down there. But we had a meeting with my group that we had a guest speaker come in that I hosted for, talking about rockabilly music and the history of it in Phoenix. So it was a really good meeting.
Okay, and Bill James?
Oh, it's just pretty comfy here at the moment. It's in the 70s, but that's probably going to heat up. And Carl, I sent you the link to set up your wearable with your watch. So check your message, your chat.
And Chris, thank you for a good program yesterday. And I'm sure you're going to have some interesting information for us today. How are things in your world down in the East Coast of Florida?
Well, we survived the hurricane, had even less than what you. So, and we're thinking about our friends up in the northern parts.
Okay, yeah. And Chris will be here shortly with her section. The Tech for Seniors, we're now in our 5th year. Don't forget to check out our website. And then the Tech for Senior Live on Thursday. Make sure you join us for that. That's always very interesting. And Wednesday night is the STUG regular meeting. A lot of you are signed up for that. The reminder will go out today or tomorrow with the link. It's the same link as we do. If you're already signed up, you don't have to do it again. We're going to be taking bits and pieces from various Tech for Seniors shows. We're going to have Mac OS compared to Windows by Bill James, and then what is TPM from Bob G, and then Wi-Fi password in Windows 11 from Bob G, Windows security secrets from Bill James, customize the Office ribbon from Marcia Berkey, and then I'm going to talk about the DuckDuckGo browser. So that's this Wednesday, and you're all invited. And so let's get started with today's show. Go ahead, Bob, you're on.
Let it fly. Here is my security news roundup for the week ending August 2nd, 2024. Justice Department says TikTok collected U.S. user views on abortion and gun control. The Justice Department is accusing TikTok of harnessing the capability to gather bulk information on users based on views on divisive social issues like gun control, abortion, and religion. TikTok employees use ℸ to send sensitive data about U.S. users, information that has wound up being stored on Chinese servers and accessible to ByteDance employees in China, federal officials said. One of ℸ's internal search tools, the filing states, permits ByteDance and TikTok employees in the U.S. and China to gather information on users' content or expressions, including views on sensitive topics such as abortion or religion. Read more at apnews.com. AI can see what's on your screen by reading HDMI electromagnetic radiation. Security researchers have demonstrated that it's possible to spy on what's visible on your screen by intercepting electromagnetic radiation from video cables with great accuracy, thanks to artificial intelligence. The team from Uruguay's University of the Republic says their AI-powered cable tapping method is good enough that these attacks are likely already happening. Their new technique reconstructed text from pilfered HDMI signals with around 70% accuracy. There's no need to toss your HDMI cables just yet, but perhaps keep an eye out for shady van operations camped across the street next time you log into your crypto wallets. Read more at techspot.com. T-Mobile's price guarantee is a lie, says class action suit. After a spate of controversial price increases, T-Mobile is now facing a class action lawsuit. The plaintiffs, who filed their complaint to the U.S. District Court on July 12th, claim that the price of their T-Mobile subscription increased without their consent and in violation of the promises made by T-Mobile. They hope to represent all U.S. residents who were impacted by a price increase after receiving a price guarantee from T-Mobile, and they seek to obtain restitution of all amounts obtained by defendant as a result of its violation, in addition to damages and an injunction against T-Mobile's unfair conduct. I personally would like T-Mobile to restore the original price. Read more at howtogeek.com. Meta agrees to $1.4 billion settlement with Texas in privacy lawsuit over facial recognition. Meta has agreed to a $1.4 billion settlement with Texas in a privacy lawsuit over allegations that the tech giant used biometric data of users without their permission, officials said Tuesday. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said the settlement is the largest secured by a single state. In 2021, a judge approved a $650 million settlement with the company, formerly known as Facebook, over similar allegations of users in Illinois. The historic settlement demonstrates our commitment to standing up to the world's biggest technology companies and holding them accountable for breaking the law and violating Texans' privacy rights, Paxton said in a statement. Read more at apnews.com. Google Chrome adds app-bound encryption to protect cookies from malware. Google has announced that it's adding a new layer of protection to its Chrome browser through what's called app-bound encryption to prevent information-stealing malware from grabbing cookies on Windows systems. App-bound encryption is an improvement over DPAPI in what it interweaves an app's identity, i.e., Chrome in this case, into encrypted data to prevent another app on the system from accessing it when decryption is attempted. Because the app-bound service is running with system privileges, attackers need to do more than just coax a user into running a malicious app, Harris said. Read more at thehackernews.com. Facebook ads lead to fake websites stealing credit card information. Facebook users are the target of a scam e-commerce network that uses hundreds of fake websites to steal personal and financial data using brand impersonation and malvertising tricks. These fraudulent sites were accessible only through mobile devices and ad lures, a tactic aimed at evading automated detection systems. Recorded Futures Payment Fraud Intelligence Team said, noting the network compromised 608 fraudulent websites and that the activity spans several short-lived waves. Malware payloads have the capability to collect and steal sensitive data. Read more at thehackernews.com. Bang Bros unzipped, 12 million records laid bare, users exposed. Miami-based Bang Bros, a well-known adult film studio and platform, has exposed private user information that includes IPs, usernames, locations, feedback messages, and model performance statistics. Cyber News researchers found a large unsecured online database containing 12 million records. The leak can pose serious privacy and security risks to Bang Bros users. Malicious actors can use IP addresses to obtain credentials from other leaks, launch targeted spear phishing attacks and scams, and capitalize on sensitive users' browsing habits, which can lead to blackmail attempts. Read more at cybernews.com. Gold rush for data. Paris 2024 Olympic apps are eavesdropping on users. Apps for the Paris Olympic Games 2024 are tracking users, extracting private data, and peddling it to advertisers and big tech. Moreover, their overreaching capabilities exceed what's being declared. The International Olympic Committee openly admits that it collects personal data, builds user profiles, and shares data with advertisers, including Facebook, Google App, and X. IOC told Cyber News that multiple permissions are needed to give the best possible experience. The apps designed to help you during the Olympics are underreporting their data collection scope on Google Play Store, require excessive dangerous permissions, and share sensitive user data with advertisers, according to a security researcher. Read more at cybernews.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel. Is free truly free? Slack. Ever wonder how free Slack truly is? I dig deep into Slack's business model, uncovering the real costs, data practices, and hidden gems of this popular collaboration tool. Watch this and the rest of the videos on that series by following the link listed. Did you know? The technical name for the sound of a rumbling stomach is borborygmus, which is made by the movement of fluid and gas in the intestinal tract. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are edible and 3,000 plus years old. So when they say age like fine wine, they should really say age like honey. A duel between three people is called a truel, because if two's company and three's a crowd, then a truel is just a crowd company with weapons. Do not wait to strike till the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking. Thanks to William Butler Yeats. And that's a wrap of this week's Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening.
Week you find some of the most interesting pieces of security information that I've missed or have not seen in other places. So thank you for that, Bob. And once again, a great newscast on security. Now let's go to something a little bit new.
Hello, Windows enthusiasts. Welcome to the first episode of the series, the CFCS and STUG WinSig Spotlight. Your host is Hewie Poplock. We are looking into the world of seamless virtual collaboration using Windows features. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, stick around. I promise you'll learn something new. Today's topic is ways to make the most of God mode on Windows from makeuseof.com.
3 ways to make the most out of the God mode on Windows 10. And that's this article. Let's make it bigger. Now I can make it full screen, but the reason I don't, somebody always suggests, why don't you make it full screen? Sometimes I need to get to the desktop and it just makes it easier to do it that way. On Windows 10 and 11, God mode refers to a system shortcut that shows you a vast list of control panel items. And while it's a huge list of over 200 system options, it can be daunting to look through. Having it around is a good idea in case you need it. As such, there are 3 ways to customize it or to make it even better. But how do you get it? Well, if you haven't turned it on yet, you can enable God mode by creating a folder on your desktop and then you rename it. So I'm going to take this from the article and I highlight it. Again, I do a Control-C to copy it, or I could right mouse click and copy, but I've already done it. Then you go to your desktop and in a clear space, go to New and come up here to Folder. Click Folder. And then in this box, it's already highlighted, but if it's not, you've already clicked outside of it, highlight the title and then just do a paste and paste that line that was in that article and then click outside the box. And then you will see, you'll have an icon for God mode. And if you double click it, it opens up God mode. And this is what it looks like. And let's go back to the article. So we now have enabled it. We know how to get to it. The folder will transform into a shortcut file, which is what we just did. If you open it, you'll see a list of every single control panel setting available. And there are a lot of them. As some components are unmaintained and can cause inconsistencies in your system. Try to only change settings you're familiar with, or don't change any. So that's a warning. Getting the most out of the God mode for Windows 10, you can cut down on clicks to access the control panel. One of the immediate benefits of the system shortcut is being able to quickly open a searchable list of control panel terms from anywhere on your system. Pin this to your quick access or start menu to eliminate unnecessary clicks to access your most important features. Spread handy shortcuts around your system. Every item listed in God mode is a shortcut by itself. As such, you can drag these individual items anywhere in your system to create useful shortcuts for frequently used features. So you can just drag one of them off to the side. It becomes a shortcut for that particular item. And you can also customize it. The folder can be rearranged and organized like any other folder in Windows. You can change the view settings and the order of the icons, or even hide entire categories. And accessing Windows easier with God mode becomes a lot easier to customize and configure when all of the settings are tidy in a searchable list. So that's the God mode. Again, let's go back and let's look at it. So let's see if I can find one that changed the default printer. Okay, I can take this, just drop it over here. In Bingo now, as you can see, and let me minimize this, I now have a shortcut to get to that particular item. So you can take any one of these, and it doesn't take it off the list. It just creates a shortcut for it. If you want, you'll see that devices and printers that's got a down arrow. If we click this, they all go away and they aren't shown. And it tells you that there's 12 items in that list. I want to look at them again. There they are. So that's God mode. Everything from autoplay, BitLocker, drives and printers, ease of access, center, file history, restore your files with file history, say backup copies of your files with file history, some things on fonts, indexing, internet options, and so on. Mouse, how the mouse pointer looks. So if you want to click that, it brings this up. You notice I've got a red arrow and it's large, and I do it from this box. And so you can change the same thing just from this without going into your setup or your settings button and then trying to find it. They're all right here. Questions, comments?
How do you get to God mode?
You create a folder on your desktop. Okay, so I deleted the one that was there. I right mouse click and just go to new and folder. I've created a new folder. Now I got to find the God mode phrase that was in that article, and I have it. So all I do is Control V, take that, and I'll show you where that is again so you can copy it. And then I paste it in here, press enter, and it's now God mode, and you can click it and it opens it. Again, that article, this article, what I copied was right here. Copy this whole thing right here, and then paste it into the folder name of a new folder, and that will become your God mode. I hope that answers your question. Jolyn, you have your hand up.
Yeah, the only thing that happened when I try that, and I tried it a couple of months ago and it didn't work, and I tried it again today and it didn't work. I get the notice that only certain characters are allowed in a folder name, so it's not letting me add, and I think it's the curly Q parenthesis that it's not letting me add in. So I can't paste it to my desktop.
And what version of Windows are you running?
Windows 10 Home.
Okay, I'm running Pro. Maybe that's, because I'm
Maybe
running
it's a Pro
11.
thing.
Yeah,
Maybe a Pro thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm
That's
running
possible.
11. And anyone else having a problem with that?
I have 10 home and I have no problem. I have God mode.
Yeah, I'm running Pro, and what I'm getting is an empty folder when I click on it.
Oh, don't click on it. You want to rename it.
I mean, after I rename it, and then I click to open it.
Sometimes what I do is let me share my remember to share my screen again. This is a trick I've learned, and I use it a lot. Once I share my screen, I'm going to move this over a little bit, and what I always do is I open up Notepad. I put Notepad on my taskbar because I use it so much. In order to find Notepad, you come here, go to All Apps, and there's Notepad. And it opened it up on my other screen, so let me slide it over. So I copy and paste things into Notepad, copy them into Notepad, and then copy them again and paste them out. So now I have this right here. I'm going to copy it and then paste it. And that way it takes out any extraneous characters that might have been picked up when you do the copy. Then I take it from here, copy it again, or I can come to edit and copy, either one. and then paste it on my screen. Again, new folder, and it's got to go in here. So if I open this, it'll be an empty folder. So I got to make sure I change the, whoops, see what I mean? So let's go back. We'll come back here, and I'm going to click once where the title is here to highlight it. And I can either hit backspace, and so it's empty, and then paste it, Control V, and then hit enter. Okay, there's already one there. So click a new folder with the number 2 on it. It clicked it again, and there it is.
Okay, my problem was my last bracket wasn't a curly one, and I fixed it, and it works.
Okay. And John, you might try that too. It might be picking up an extra character. Any other questions, comments? God mode is, if you know what you're doing, it's a useful tool.
Yeah, Hewie, I was just going to say you're correct about.
Hello, Windows enthusiasts. Welcome to the first episode of the series,
Why can't you just paste it to your desktop without creating a folder?
That's the way it works. Okay, going to the next is Chris is going to talk about some interesting things, and we're going to learn some new things about Google Photos. So Chris, go ahead.
Hello, Hewie, and thank you, Tech for Seniors. I love talking about fun with photos. Today, I'm talking about what's new in Google Photos. I mean, there's new stuff all the time. So I try to do this a couple times a year. There are more things that I'm going to talk about, but I've picked some of my favorites. And the first thing to know is that I do try to keep up with all the changes, and you can find them on the page, geeksontour.com/GP updates. And I want to show you that. And just geeksontour.com, GP, Google Photos, updates. And whenever I learn of a new update to Google Photos, I put the date, the chapter of my book that's affected, and some information about it. So if you want to see all the things that are new, go here and look it over. For today, I'm going to be showing, I think, about 6 different things. And starting with a new type of album called My Week. Now, it's nothing really different. It's just an album, but it's a bit of a special album in that it will appear at the top left of your Google Photos screen, along with those memories. And then you can share it with friends and family. You can share any album with friends and family. But as I say, this one will then appear at the top left of their screens. And you are encouraged, it kind of prompts you to add more photos. So your week gets filled out. And in the end, it kind of makes it like a private Facebook for just you and the people you shared with. It's kind of cool. You won't have it unless you have somebody else who already has it. They send you an invite to theirs, and then in a day or two, you will get a prompt to say, do you want to make your own? And here's what it looks like. I'm showing you on my iPhone, but it looks just the same on the Android. And it's up at the top. So this is my Google Photos. At the top, you have this memory carousel, and the very first one is the My Week. It has your little face and a plus. I tap on it, and it works like all the other memories and just goes through a little slideshow. But if you then tap in the lower left-hand corner where the date is, then you see it arranged by week. So I see that I don't have anything for this week yet, and I didn't add more than 2 pictures to this week back here. So I kind of like that. I consider it like a journal. So that is my week. And if you would like an invite, you can find one. If you are a Geeks on Tour website member, you go to that GP updates page. the part about my week, there's a link where you can get your own invite. So that is my week. Next, a menu change. They keep moving our cheese. If you look at your Google Photos, you're probably accustomed to seeing a tab at the bottom called Library. Well, on mine anyway, now it no longer says Library, it says Collections. I actually kind of like this change, except for, not being able to find anything for a little bit. It puts albums and people groupings and places all under collections, where people used to be under search. Now it's under collections. And if you don't have that, just wait. This is one that is rolling out. There's nothing you need to do. And they might even change their mind and not do it at all. But my phone now says collections, and I have to get used to it. Now, here is the fun one, Magic Editor. It can do erasing just like Magic Eraser, but it can do so much more. And I have a little pre-recorded segment on that. I'm going to show you some examples of using Magic Editor. I know I'm short, but this picture makes me look like a toy. So you tap on the edit. I am going to use the Magic Editor. That's this green, blue, purple, it keeps changing button right there. And I can just tap on me. Notice how I get highlighted. I could erase me, but no, that's not what I want to do. So I tap and hold, and now I can I can move me around, or with 2 fingers, I can make me bigger. And that might be a little bit too much. And then it's the right arrow that says, okay, make that so. That's more like it. It does give me some other choices to see if it did it better in a second try, but that one's fine. I tap the check mark and save copy. For this picture, I think we should be closer together. Edit, Magic Editor. I'll tap on Jim. Oops, that just got his hand. So I need to refine the selection and add. There. Now I can touch and hold. No, I have to say done now that I've added more area. I don't want to erase him. Touch and hold and move him over. And do it. I like it. I tap check mark and save a copy. For this one, I want the horse on the hill to be bigger. Edit, Magic Editor, tap the horse, touch and hold, and then this can be really tricky. I need to get 2 fingers on that horse in order to make it bigger. There, I got it. It can be done. And that's good. I say do it. But Magic Editor can do more. Notice that after I tap the check mark, I still have the Magic Editor button. That's saying there's more that it could do with this. It can make adjustments to the sky. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Or that one, or that one. So it gives me a few, and I can even tap to get more results, but I like that one. Check mark, save a copy. And I've saved the coolest one for last. This is a picture of a banyan tree in my neighborhood that I just think is special. Magic Editor. And I don't want to move anything around, so I'm going to tap Magic Editor again. And notice how it offers me stylized. What is that? It turns it into a work of art with several different choices. Wow. And I could even get more choices. Oh, I like that one. It turned that one hard route into a little waterfall. So I'll check mark and save a copy. Play around with Magic Editor. It's fun. And it's free, and it's on all mobile devices. So give it a shot. Now, it used to be that you had to be a Google One, and before that, you had to have a Pixel. All that's gone. It is available. If you don't have it, it might still be rolling out, but it's been rolling out for a while. You should have it. So that was Magic Editor. The next new thing is markup on the web. You know, Magic Editor, Magic Eraser are only available on mobile, but we did just get one new thing on the web version. If you go into Edit, there is now a button at the far right for markup. Now, unfortunately, I don't see any text options yet. You have to just use the pen and draw what you want. But if you're better at that than I am, you can still get some stuff done. So that is markup on the web editor. And I'm about done here. I want to know how many photos I have. And this has been something that you could not do in Google Photos. And I just noticed the other day that if you tap on your face in the upper right-hand corner and then backup, right underneath where it says your backup is complete, it will give the number of pictures. It can take a minute to show up. So if you go there and you don't see it right away, just wait. So I see that I have 106,192 images in my Google Photos account. AI photos is something that is coming. I have not seen it yet. It is a AI asking about your photos. When it comes, it will be that little sparkle at the right side of a search box. And then transfers to iCloud. If you want to move from Google to iCloud, you now can. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And all the instructions are in this geeksontour.com/GP updates, including if you want an invite to that My Week, you can do it. And that is my list of new things in Google Photos.
Lots of neat things installed already and incoming as well. They keep updating and adding things. It's just an amazing program. Next, we'll go to Ron and Bob. And
when you're asked for your social insurance number by someone of authority or someone doing a transaction with you, I say it's time for a fight. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we teach seniors about technology and help them with cybersecurity. In this video titled Fighting for Your Social Insurance Number, Bob Gostischa and I have teed up to make a video to help you keep your social insurance number private. In the first part of the video, I'm going to give you 3 examples of how easy it is to let your social insurance number slip out. And in the second part of the video, Bob Gostischa is going to clearly define who should have access to your social insurance number. But remember, it ultimately is up to you. We can make all the videos in the world. We can tell you all the things you should do, but it is up to you to say no. No, you're not going to get my social insurance number. Let's look at some of the examples today. In particular, seniors are often very vulnerable because they're very accommodating and trusting. So if someone asks for their social insurance number, whether it's a doctor's office or you're doing a transaction, they often take out their social insurance number and give it readily. This is a terrible mistake and one you need to be on your toes about. And that's why we titled it Fighting for Your Social Insurance Number. The next thing I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to open your wallet or your purse. I want you to look through there and see if you're carrying your social insurance card in your possession. This is an extremely bad idea because if your wallet or purse is stolen, it's a very key piece of personal ID will be in the wrong hands. Take your social security card, put it in a safe place in your house, lock it up, and leave it there. If you need it, well, you can go and get it, but don't carry it around with you. Bad idea. So the first example I'd like to give you occurred at Best Buy. Now, this did occur a long time ago, but I wanted to give you this as a good example of what not to do. I expect their policies and procedures have certainly changed by now. So the issue was a return of a modem. I live in Arizona as a winter resident for about 10 years. We had a big new Best Buy on East Southern, and I was always helping people in our resort repair their computers. So in this case, I was returning a modem that was sealed, unopened, and I had a receipt to Best Buy on East Southern. It was a big new store, very exciting to go into. And when I went to the return station, there was a bit of a lineup and there were a number of people accepting returns. I got a very smartly dressed young man who had a nice haircut, he had a tie, and was very well presented. He gave me a big smile, and I said that I would like to return this modem, and here's my receipt. He said, "No problemo, sir. We'll do that right away." Wow, I was pretty impressed. So the first thing he did was look down at his computer, and as he started typing, he said, "Sir, what's your social?" And I thought, what's he want my social insurance number for? So I said, "What's a social?" He then, as he was typing in his computer, I'm sure thought I'm an old guy with gray hair. So he thought that I had a hearing problem. So he just shouted a little louder, "Sir, what's your social?" And I sort of shouted back a little louder at him and said, "What's a social?" Now this really perplexed him, and trying to keep his cool, he looked up to me and thought, maybe he's got hearing problems and a bit of dementia. "Sir," he said, "I need your social insurance number to start the return. Can you give me your social insurance number?" And I said to him, "Why do you need my social insurance number?" Now, the answer that he gave me was very typical and one I want you to pay attention to. He said, "I need your social insurance number because it tells me on the screen that I need it, and we need that to start your return." Well, that just wasn't good enough for me. So I thought, I'm going to pull a Canadian trick. So I said to him, "Well, I'm from Canada and we don't have social insurance numbers in Canada." That completely blocked his thought, and he thought for a minute, and off he went to his supervisor. The supervisor came over after a bit of discussion and said to me, "Well, sir," he said, "we do need your social insurance number to start an account to get your return started." He said, we get lots of Canadians coming in with returns." He says, "It's not a problem. Just give me your social insurance number and we can start the return." I said, "I don't remember it. I'm an old guy. I can't remember my social insurance number." And after much discussion, he said, "Well, let's do your driver's license then." Now, I want you to pause that thought because we're going to come back to this example in just a minute because it wasn't so easy with my driver's license either. I was up for a good fight here. We're going to come back to that story in just a moment. So the second incident occurred 1 year earlier. It actually occurred in the same mall. It was a brand new mall on East Southern, and there was a brand new Target store built. Actually, it's right next to Best Buy. So we were there, and I was with my wife, Gail, and we'd never been in a Target store. It was a huge store, multi-level. It just opened that week. So I said to Gail, "I've never been in Target. Let's go and have a look around." So we go into this brand new store. Everything was new. They had lots of staff there, but no customers. We were almost the only ones in the store. So we wandered around, had a look at everything, And on our way out, Gail had picked up a couple of things to buy, and there was a big pallet of beer right by the checkout counter. And you know me, I thought, it's half price. This is a good deal on beer. So I grabbed a case of beer, and Gail had her couple of things to buy. So we went to the checkout. Now, there were like 14 checkout counters, but there was nobody in the store. They only had the first one open, and there was a young girl there looking really smart again. She had all her new checkout equipment there. It was a new computer, new scanners, everything was brand new. So we put the case of beer on the conveyor belt. Gail put her two things on, and it went down. And as soon as she scanned the beer, the alarms went off. I thought I was going to be arrested. There were alarms flashing and everything. And she said, that just means that I have to ask you your age. And I said, oh, okay. I said, I can confirm I'm over 21. She said, oh, I know that. But she said, the new rules are in this machine is that we have to identify you and put your age in. Oh, I said, you want my age? She says, yeah. She said, I need it off your driver's license. Could you just give me your driver's license for a minute? And I said, oh, sure. And I showed it to her. But she said, no, could you just take it out? I have to put the information in the computer. So I said, okay. And I gave her my driver's license. And the next thing I know is that she took it and scanned it. There was an automatic scanner by the till, and she just scanned my driver's license. And there's a magnetic strip on the back. So I was absolutely in horror in that she had scanned my driver's license and taken God knows what off that license as my personal information, all for a case of beer. So I wasn't very happy about that. Gail grabbed my arm and she said, now listen, don't you start anything, and off we went. So when we got home that summer, I went and talked to the district manager of our BC Services Center here in our local area, and he really read the riot act about this. He said that driver's license is property of British Columbia. He said that has very secure, sensitive information on that magnetic strip that only you should be looking at. It sort of has your mother's maiden name. It has a lot of personal information about your accounts, healthcare, etc. There's nobody that should be scanning that information. So that was really stressful, and I'm always careful now in who I give my card to if they want to see my driver's license, and I always hold it in my hand. They certainly have the right to maybe get the driver's license number, but there's no way anyone's going to scan that data. And I might add that the following year, Best Buy had one of their largest data breaches, and most people who had a Best Buy account had their personal information compromised. Just another reason you do not want to give that information out. And just a further discussion, it was about a year later when Target had their massive data breach and all customers' personal data was compromised. Again, it's very important that you must limit that information, and who the heck needs to give you all your personal information, including all the secrets on the back of your driver's license, to buy a case of beer when I'm over 70 years old? Ridiculous. So going back a year earlier at Best Buy, when the manager wanted my driver's license, of course, I was very reluctant to give it to him, and I said he could see the number. Anyway, cooler heads prevailed. We got it all done, but wasn't without a big fight, and no, they didn't get any of my personal data. The third point I wanted to mention was a time when I was in Mesa and I was at the dentist. Yes, I was at an endodontist needing a root canal, big office, lots of dentists. And of course, I'm sitting there by the reception, filling in some information. And of course, this was a weird reception room. It had one receptionist that was behind, you know, those plexiglass windows with the hole in it. So it was, I never seen anything quite that old. Anyway, the patients would come up and a very efficient receptionist would say, Mrs. Smith, this is, of course, your name. Yes. Is this is 61 da 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 your social insurance? Yes. Is this your phone number? Yes. And would go and list all the personal data off. And of course, the person behind the patient would be saying yes, 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 yes. And I'm sitting right by the window. If I just turn my recorder on, I would have captured everybody's personal data. I had to wait about 30 minutes. I'm sure there was about 15 people that came up to that window and spouted out all their personal data, including the social insurance number. Again, that would be something that you should challenge. Now, I want to talk about the relationship between your social insurance number and healthcare. Now, in Canada and the United States, the reason for having a social insurance number is the same. It's access to government services. In other words, the government gives you a number, and that allows you to access government services. Now, most often you would use this in the form of taxation to file your federal income tax. In the United States, it gets a little more complicated, and the history is this. Each state has a Medicare program. This is funded by the federal government, and the money flows through the various states. Now, the federal government contracted Equifax, not to administer the program, but to help with identifiers. In other words, they wanted to make sure they had a national identifier that would identify who the people receiving the services are. And this, of course, was the social insurance number. And that's how social insurance numbers initially used in healthcare in the United States. And of course, that went on to HMOs, it went on to labs, x-rays. All the services in healthcare started to use social insurance numbers as an identifier. This went along for a while, and then we had the big Equifax disaster that occurred in 2017. This was one of the first and largest hacks that released people's name associated with their social insurance number. And it's estimated about 2/3 of all residents in the United States had their social insurance numbers leaked. This had a huge effect and involved many of the states suing Equifax. Some Equifax employees even went to jail. There were many fines levied, and a lot of money was paid from Equifax back to the various people who were harmed. The problem, of course, was they needed to change the system so that the social insurance number was not an identifier. And as you see here, the old healthcare Medicare card has your identifier as your social insurance number. Well, that's not true now. It's all changed, and there's a different identifier that is not your social insurance number. There are probably, though, some legacy systems or some old holdovers that always just seem to want your social insurance number, but that's not needed anymore. So in summary, it's your responsibility. It might be a bit of a fight, but do not give that number out, even if somebody asks you, unless they give you a darn good reason why you should release it. And it shouldn't be just because the computer requires it. All right, let's move on to Bob Gostischa's excellent video, and he's clearly defines who should have access to your personal data. So let's have a look at the video.
So, what's really personal information? Today, I'm diving into a crucial topic, understanding personal information and how to protect it. In this digital age, it's more important than ever to know what information is truly personal, what you can safely share, and what you should always keep private. Let's get started. What is personal information? Personal information includes any data that can be used to identify you. It can be divided into two main categories. Basic information, such as your name, address, phone number, and email address. And sensitive information, which includes your social security number, passport number, credit card and bank account details, medical records, passwords, and PINs. Let's talk about what you can reasonably share. Basic information is often necessary to share in everyday situations. For instance, when you're shopping online, you need to provide your name, address, and payment details to trusted retailers. Professional networking on platforms like LinkedIn involves sharing your name, job title, and work email. Now, what about the information you occasionally need to share? Sensitive information should be shared cautiously. Share your medical information only with healthcare providers when necessary. Financial details should be given to banks and trusted financial institutions. Your Social Security number and passport number should only be shared with government agencies, employers, and verified financial entities. What should you never share? Never share your passwords and PINs with anyone. Avoid sharing full credit card information unless you are on a secure, reputable website. And never share personal information on social media or public websites. When and where to share information. Only provide your personal information on verified websites. Look for HTTPS in the URL and a padlock symbol indicating a secure site. Share sensitive information only with trusted institutions and official requests from verified government or financial entities. When can you refuse and still gain access? You don't always have to share your information to gain access. If a website or service requests more information than necessary, question why. For example, a newsletter sign-up shouldn't need your Social Security number. Decline to share personal information for marketing or promotional purposes. And if certain information is marked as optional, you can choose not to provide it. Tips for protecting your personal information. Use strong passwords combining letters, numbers, and special characters. Enable two-factor authentication for an extra layer of security. Regularly monitor your accounts for any unauthorized activity. And be wary of phishing scams. Avoid clicking on suspicious links or emails. Understanding what information is truly personal and knowing when and where to share it can help you better protect your privacy and avoid potential security risks. Stay informed, stay cautious, and always prioritize the safety of your personal information.
Bob Gostischa and I had a lot of fun making this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Don't forget that like and subscribe.
Oh, lots of great, important information. Thank you, Bob and Ron. Now, Ron, did you already shut off the YouTube?
I'll do it now.
Okay. Okay, for those of you on YouTube, thanks for joining. You can come and join us on Zoom if you'd like for the music section and the Q&A. And with that,
Okay,
we'll turn it over to Ray.
Okay, an epic Olympic performance by Celine Dion. So as a self-imposed rule, I try not to focus on a particular singer more than once as I prepare each week's music outro. There have been exceptions, and today will be another one. It was March of 2023 that I highlighted Celine Dion because at the time she was glaringly omitted from the Rolling Stone magazine 2023 list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. Now, as I mentioned then, Celine Dion is a Canadian singer, songwriter, and actress born March 30th, 1968 in Charlemagne, Quebec, Canada, and known for her powerful and technically skilled vocals. I also revealed that she had been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, which is a rare neurological disorder causing her to cancel all her live performances in 2023. SPD causes severe muscle spasms and thus affected her ability to walk and sing. Now, fast forward to the 2024 Paris Olympics opening ceremony, where Celine Dion at the Eiffel Tower makes a triumphant return with a truly epic performance of hymn known as Hymn to Love, made famous by legendary French singer Edith Piaf, who first recorded this song in 1950. It was written in memory of her lover who died in a plane crash a year earlier. Now, the English version, titled If You Love Me, Really Love Me, has been recorded by numerous singers, with my two personal favorites being a solo version by Brenda Lee and one by the Blue Notes that goes back to 1956. So today's video clip is for those that missed this incredibly moving performance at the closing of the Olympics opening day festivities, as well as the rest of us who won't mind watching it again. If I was asked to define the word epic, that would be it.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, Ray, and thank you everybody for attending. We're running late, but we still have time for some more of our Q&A. Ron, you have your hand up first.
There we go. I wanted just to I apologize for that being a lengthy video, but it just worked out that way. But I wanted just to remind everybody that it is never before. I mean, every week Bob talks about all the breaches that have occurred and all the hacks that have occurred of the week. This is a critical time in our life where we have to be vigilant about giving any of our personal data up. Because if you give it up, particularly to Best Buy, Target, or whatever you're going to give your personal data up to, then you can be assured that that's going to be hacked. For sure, as little green apples grow on trees, that is going to be hacked. So you have to return a modem, you should not have to give any personal data. If you have a receipt and you have a box, then you should be able to just return it without giving personal data up. I think we have to be so careful of giving personal data away to third parties now. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Ron. It was a great presentation as well. Jim Glass, your hand is up. You're muted.
Two things to mention regarding personal data, which all of us will have to face one time, is don't put that data in obituaries. Burglars go through that all the time to find out that people have passed and hit their targets. So be careful of what you share with the public too. The second is a question for Chris. I went on the App Store and there are a dozen different magic editors, but none specific for iPhones. So which one do we pick?
We don't hear you, Chris.
Okay, I just did that backwards. It's not an app called Magic Editor, it's Google Photos. You edit with Google Photos, and Magic Editor is one of the options there, if you're up to date with Google Photos and if it's been rolled out to you.
Okay, Steve Parker, your hand's up.
Okay, that's God mode. Can you put a name on that icon on your desktop to say God mode? Because right now it doesn't have anything on there. Oh, and you don't need the words God mode in the name of the folder, but you do need the period. So it's the period, then the left curly brackets, that big long string of numbers, and then the right curly bracket. That's all you need.
Once you've set it up, okay, you need that information to set it up. Once it's been set up, you can rename that folder to whatever you want.
But it won't work.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, I just tried it and it doesn't. If you change the name of that folder now to God mode and you put in God mode, you'll just have an empty folder. You won't have the God mode folder. The name of that folder has to be that dot, curly bracket, number, and then curly bracket for it to work. But try it.
That's my understanding as well. That it has to be that phrase as the name of the folder. And
Yeah.
that makes it the God mode.
Yeah, but there's no way to identify it though. I mean, you can't change the icon and you can't change the name of it. So
I think
Yeah.
I think that's the way that it is.
Yep. Irving, your hand is up.
Yes, I'd like to go back a moment to the security, SIN numbers, etc. One of the points that came out was about passport numbers. And I wanted to ask you, are you comfortable using the airline websites who insist on passport numbers, especially when you're traveling internationally? For example, Canadians going to the US and vice versa.
I think as Bob said, there are some sites that you just have to put it in. If you want to fly on an airline and you want to go and you want to travel, then you've got to put your passport number in. Now, the question is, if they ask for your social insurance number, that's a different thing. There'd be no reason why they needed that. And they never ask for that. But because of when you travel internationally, a lot of times when you're traveling to other countries, they do security checks on you before you arrive in that country. And the airline company sends that information to the country you're arriving in so they can scan and so they know who is arriving. Everyone traveling to a different country is vetted long before they get to that country. And so that's why they need those your passport number in there.
It's not only airlines. If you go on a cruise and it goes out of the country, you have to submit your passport number. That's the alternative. If you don't want to give the information, you don't have to, but you also don't have to travel.
That's right.
That's about what it comes out to, Irving. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Drew, your hand is up.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I'm sure that Hewie may have mentioned earlier that we've had such a horrible storm here in Sarasota. All the roads around my house are flooded. I can't go anywhere. But I wanted to just take a moment to thank everybody for any well-wishing that you gave to my little puppy girl, because this weekend she took a little turn for the better. And she's been walking around and eating a little bit of food, and things are starting to look up.
Great. Okay, a few things from the chat. Let's see. Mike Swift says, if the data on the magnetic strip is secure, encrypted, I assume, could a retail store get any data? As our BC driver's license also has our personal health number, it is scanned at the doctor's office to confirm identity. Any idea, Ron?
Well, I don't, because it changes all the time. And of course, this was quite a while ago when this happened to me. So, I would assume that this stuff on your driver's license encrypted. I mean, I don't really know, but I think that, I'm not going to let Target scan my driver's license to buy a case of beer. That just isn't going to happen, right? Now, if I'm at the doctor's office and they want to scan it to get some information out there, probably that's okay. But I'm not going to give my driver's license to any retail store. None, zero. They may require it as an identifier to get a number off it, but I'll hold the card and they can get the number off it, not allowing it to be scanned. And I think we just have to be, and as I said in the video, it's up to you. It's us that you have to fight sometimes, because they will always say, well, it's on the computer. The computer needs to know, right? So they don't need to know, and you have to fight for that. It's up to you. Everyone has to fight for it.
You're required to give you your driver's license number. You're not required to hand over anything beyond that. So, but it's up to you to make sure that that's the only information you pass along. Right. It's much easier for them to scan it than to have to type it.
Right. Do not let them scan it. Don't let them scan it. No way.
Here in Florida, you have to let your pharmacy scan your license to get narcotics.
That's correct.
Brian asks, is there an agency or phone number or something in the US and Canada where you can report these retailers that are requesting or demanding unnecessary personal information?
Federal Trade Commission, FTC. You go to their website and you'll find a place where you can report incidents of asking for or reporting.
And Mike Swift said the Office of Information and Privacy Commissioner, there's a form for a complaint to a private company and other public bodies, and that's in Canada apparently. And he's got a link to it in the chat. And let's see.
And
Ray
the other one
says,
here, the other one here,
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted, sorry for interrupting, was I just wanted to let everyone, thank you, Bob, for doing the IOC one. I mean, I wrote an article about that in our last newsletter saying, here's the app for the Paris, the Paris Olympics. And, oh my gosh, they wrote this app, and that is probably one of the most damaging apps at collecting your personal data. And this is from the IOC. This is not a third party, this is crazy. I mean, that's really,
lots of
really
things
awful.
happened at the Olympics that many of us are not happy with.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible that they would do that. That's awful. I deleted the app immediately, and I suggest everybody does that.
Fortunately, they've already collected all your information.
Yeah, they probably know my social insurance number.
Ray says, thanks for all the positive comments. And it's a video clip I don't think I ever tire of. And then Kathleen says, your presentations are always wonderful. And Jim Glass, you have your hand up and probably will be the last of our question and answers today. You're muted.
In the US, if you go to the Social Security Administration website, they have a means of protecting your Social Security, but you have to register with them. So to take a look and see what they say, it may have changed. But last time I looked, it did have that protection.
Well, actually, what they have is they'll notify you if your Social Security number shows up on the dark web.
And the other thing, just to remind you, everyone, don't carry it in your wallet. It's a bad decision, put it away.
They say not to carry your Medicare card too. Here in the US, just you should have your insurance card from whatever company you're using. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for everyone for joining us. This has been Tech for Senior, and we'll say thank you for attending, and we'll see you Wednesday at Stug, and we'll see you Thursday at Tech for Senior Live, and we'll see you here again next Monday at Tech for Senior. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.